What's up? Welcome back to another video. This is part 3 of building a brand identity from scratch. If you haven't seen the first 2 parts, go check it out. You'll probably be confused on what's going on if you haven't seen those. In this part, I'm going to show you the final designs and what I came up with behind the scenes. I kind of jumped the gun on this and I didn't really document me doing the design after the concept, so I'm going to go through the brand guidelines and show you what I did for the sub-brand too, and I'm going to explain my design decisions. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, so in the last video, you might recall, we ended up making this. These are variations of the logo for the parent brand and their color scheme, and since then, I put together brand guidelines, and the brand guidelines pretty much just tells you who the brand is, what they stand for, and how they sound. So the things that go in the brand guidelines are the story, which is the mission, vision, values, and then the strategy section, which is target audience and tone of voice, and then you go into the visual identity, so things like the word mark and icon and the safe space for the logo, the typography, and the color palette. And then we show the visual identity using brand assets, so this is stuff like mock-ups, and then after that I go into the sub-brand. So the story behind Varuni is that their mission is to bring people together to bond and express who they are without hesitation or doubt. Their vision is to be the icon for social events and collaboration amongst young people. They're driven by memory-making moments, and they're here to be an outlet to show your true colors. And then I go over the values, which is just being social and overall community and bringing people together. And the strategy behind Varuni is that they're targeted to early drinkers, females and males between 20 and 30 years old who love to get together and hang out with their friends. They live for social gatherings and they don't believe in social battery. There's more to read there, but I won't bore you with this stuff. So the 3 words that I chose for the tone of voice are inspiring, encouraging, and inclusive. And to figure out how I came up with this, you can check out the first part of the series, which is pretty much every part of the strategy section. And now the visual identity, so I put the word mark and icon there, and then I show them the safe space. Pretty much you take an aspect from the logo and you put that proportion on the outside of the logo so that nothing interferes with it. And then I show the 2 main fonts that are used and the color palette, and I provided the CMYK, the RGB, and the hex code. You can include the Pantone if it applies, so just keep that in mind. And then the brand assets is pretty much just to help them visualize what the brand will actually look like in the real world. So I have a mock-up of some coasters, a t-shirt, and then another version of the t-shirt, and a delivery truck sort of thing. And now we get into the sub-brand. Before I show you this part of the brand guidelines, let's take a step back and go through the process of how I designed this. So first we'll start off with the name. So the name I ended up going with is Polario, which comes from the star Polaris. It's used as navigation because it's the brightest star in the Little Dipper constellation, and it appears as stationary because it sits near the most north pole, which allows people to use it to find true north. But for Polario, the brand, we are the brightest star. We strive to help you find your true north. We're here to share and we're here to stay. So for the positioning statement, I said that it's for early drinkers who seek connection and celebrate life's moments. We offer many flavors of hard seltzer that fosters collaboration and sharing the moment, making every social gathering an opportunity to find your true north and create lasting memories. So find your true north is a slogan that I came up with, and I think it's really fitting because it emphasizes the individuality and the collaboration aspect of everything Varuni and Polario has to stand for, and the target audience is pretty similar to the main brand. Okay, so when I was creating the logo, these were the options that I had for the font, and I like this cursive looking font. I was indecisive of what P I should use, and I think I ended up getting rid of this one because it looked too much like the Pinterest P. So then I changed the weights of some of the P's, and the more cursive calligraphy looking ones look better. And then I had another version here with a different looking star. This one is like thicker than this one. This is what I ended up going with. I think it works really well, and it matches the mood board we originally had. So then from there, I started piecing together some elements to try and concept what the packaging would look like. And then over here, I have some variations of a star. This is kind of random. I don't know what I was doing here, but I think overall I ended up going with this shape. It's just perfectly symmetrical. And in the logo, it's like italicized, so it's like slanted. And then this was the first version of the packaging I went with. I ended up not going with pink. I don't even know why I did that in the first place, but I thought that this star icon at the bottom is kind of like a burst of flavor, and the flavor would be indicated there, and the flavor would also be written in text at this white bar down here. So I started trying to make the design for the first flavor, which is lemon, and I started with this lemon icon, and I found out that if I took the star from the logo and split it into 2 corners, that I could use that and put it inside the lemon like that. And then I noticed that the proportions match up where this could work as a pattern, which led me to making this pattern. And it's kind of like an optical illusion. You can see it as the lemon slanted this way, or you can see it slanted that way, depending on how you look at it. It's kind of trippy. But after I made that, I needed to change this pattern for the 2 other flavors, which was grapefruit and lime. So using those same shapes, I changed the colors to look like grapefruit, and then the other one looks like lime. And I was provided with a die line, which you can see here. So this box here is where the main graphic is going to go. And then over here, I'll just put some important text. And then I was also given the die line for a box, which would be a 4-pack for one of the flavors. I'll kind of unpack this in layers. So for the background, I went with this gradient, and then I put the logo at the top so it takes up most of the space of the can. And then I used that pattern as a clipping mask for that shape that we saw earlier, and I put it below there. With the white bar at the bottom, this is what it looks like. Just the gradient in the background alone looked a little too basic. So I took the star from the dot of the eye and I made a pattern using that, and I put it subtly in the background, and that pretty much sealed it all together. And I really like the look of that. Using these guidelines that I created, I found that the best space for the UPC code or the barcode would be in this section here. And with each iteration that I'm adding, I did lots of print tests and I used a can to see how everything would scale and fit once it's like wrapped around. And then on the right side, I put the mission statement for Rooney, just some text there. And then I filled in the corner with the Rooney logo. And then above that, I needed some text for Polario and what Polario means. So I put that there. And everything is bilingual for English and French because it's a Canadian brand. And for Canadian food laws, you're not required to put nutrition facts on an alcoholic beverage if it's not making some sort of nutritional claim. So if this were to say like 0 calories or something like that, then I would need a nutrition facts label. But since it doesn't, I just put the ingredients at the top right. And then below Polario, I put what type of drink it is. And then in the white label, I needed to put the flavor and the alcohol percentage. And I matched the alcohol percentage with darkest color from the pattern, and that stays consistent throughout each flavor, which I'll show you after. So then I just added a domicile to the left and the weight statement here. So with that set up, I just need to apply the same design elements to the other 3 flavors. And this is what the grapefruit one looks like, and this is what lime looks like. So after lots of print testing and back and forth with the client, this was the final design I came up with. I just needed to make the 4-pack box design for one of the flavors. So this is what that looks like. I used the same gradient background and the same pattern to keep it consistent on the front, and then I added the slogan in English and French on both sides, and a little CTA for downloading the rewards app, which we'll get into later. But first, we'll go back to the brand guidelines and show you what I included for the logo. So I put the logo and the icon there, and then the safe space for the Polario logo, and then the color palette there. And with the color scheme, I included the lighter option on the top. So with the rewards program, they wanted me to come up with an idea for some sort of giveaway or rewards program, and this is what I came up with. So every Polario can carries 2 colors. There's a circle on the bottom of every can that represents the moment you're sharing, and every tab on the top represents who you're sharing it with. So when you pass a Polario to someone, the moment begins. You can open the app and select the color combinations, and when both colors are entered, they combine to unlock a unique moment. There's 100 different possible rewards that you can get for this. You can get discounts, merch, other things like that, and it just depends on the rarity of the combination. So here's a video that I provided them with a concept of what the app might look like. This isn't the legit app. This is just a concept that I made just to show them what it would look like and how it might work. So there's the rewards program, and this is what the cans would look like, and this is a mock-up of how they'd look like on a shelf with a shelf card there saying the slogan. And then here's a mock-up of the cans with different colored tabs, and then there's some more mock-ups here. I thought this was a cool image of the box. It's almost like it's bursting out the top. Here's some social media post mock-ups with the tagline at the bottom, and then just a lifestyle shot there. So they didn't ask for this, but I did go a little bit above and beyond, and I made a quick commercial to show how a commercial might look based off of the whole idea of finding your true north and seeking memorable moments. So here's the commercial I made starring me. So it's kind of following the structure of some Super Bowl commercials that you might have seen, where the first section is a different scenario, and then the ending has a jingle with some text on it. So the first part would be different, but this animation at the end would be the same in every ad. This is what the animation looks like slowed down. So I added the sound effect of the can crapping, the sound effect of the can cracking, and then it finally pops, and then the logo comes in with the jingle, and then the slogan is there with the CTA for the app. So that is what I came up with for Polario and Veroni beverages. If you watch all 3 parts, thank you for sticking around. This was a long process and I was really hyped, and I kind of rushed through the end of it without recording. So I was a little bit disconnected there, but we got it done. I'm happy with how it came out. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Subscribe for more videos. I plan on doing more process videos and other demonstrations like that. So yeah, peace out.